Up until like a year ago, I've never rode board rails on my skateboard. So it's kind of new to me, but it's something I definitely like and helps with my skating. So I'm going to explain how to set them up, and I'm also going to explain some of the perks to having them on your skateboard. Let's do it. Alright, so this is the skateboard I'm setting up board rails on. This is a Jake Wooten Santa Cruz VX. So the board rails I have are Opera clear rails. They're about 1/4 of an inch tall. So I'm going to go over some things that board rails are good for and what they help with. Some of the things, in my opinion, might not be why another person skates them. And I got a little Opera sticker, so that's dope. And it's like holographic kind of, so that'll be dope on this board. And I got the clear blue guys because the board is kind of like futuristic and it's blue with like the microchip futuristic vibe going on, so I think that'll match it and look dope. I'm gonna put those aside for now and actually add my stickers now, because some of the stickers are definitely gonna go under where the board rails go. I actually found this sticker like at a skate park. It was like blowing in the wind and I picked it up. Whoever dropped that, it's definitely, you know, a loss for them, but it went into good hands, so you know, you can rest assured about that. Beautiful, kind of like that, maybe a little crooked, maybe not crooked. I gotta do a little crooked. Bang! Throw that guy right there. Alright, she's all stickered up. So first thing you want to do, basically, I'm not going to get too in depth here because it's really not that important, I feel. You obviously want to pick a spot where you feel like you're going to want your board rails. A few things to remember is the further in you place your board rails, the more you're going to be able to use your board rail as leverage to push down on, like mid board slide. Pick your board up, change to different locks and pinches and grinds and basically different stuff on transition and coping and stuff. Anywhere you put them is going to protect your graphics, so that's obviously another reason. If you jump on a board slide with just your board, you're kind of like moving around like this. You could slip out this way or slip out that way. So one thing that these are good for is board slides. It's not a cheat code, not like it's gonna make it super easy if you don't know board slides, but it's definitely gonna make them more consistent and more predictable. So I like to have my board rails probably about that far away. I don't know what that would be, but before you do that, you just want to look at both these holes right here, like where your base plates sit, and make sure you're even. So you don't have to be super meticulous about how you do that. You just want to eyeball it straight. All you're doing at first is setting one screw right in the middle. You want to use a screwdriver, by the way, because a drill will strip your board out, especially these VXs. They're so thin that these screws almost pop through the top, and sometimes they actually do pop through the top. So you don't want to do it too tight. If you strip it out, you're gonna have to put your rails in a different spot. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. So don't use a drill. Learn from my mistake. I tried it. I've seen other people do it. Now, obviously this is the middle screw, so you're gonna be able to adjust these to get them to be the same. You just wanna make sure they're even to the screws. And this is the fastest, less time consuming way to do it. We're actually gonna have to take these off and sand down the little rivets. They're like little volcanoes that come out of the wood because all the wood has nowhere to go. Once you start screwing it in, it kind of pops out of the top. So you wanna sand those down after you take these back off so these can sit flat, because if these aren't flat, they'll kind of be lifted up in some spots and they'll get hung up on curbs or whatever you're skating on. These kind of are a pain in the ass to set up, so. So you just want to do that for all these screws after it's tight, and then get the other side started, and then we'll go from there. So see how there's a little space in there? You might have to back it out a little bit. Push down on the rail and then retighten. All right, so now that they're on, they feel pretty even. Looks pretty cool. So then you're gonna actually take them back out and sand down with a piece of grip tape or a little piece of sandpaper. Just sand down the areas where the wood from the skateboard is protruding. Now we know where the holes are, so this part's easy. As you can see, there's like little bumps, and those kind of push the rail up a little. So you just want to sand those down. And if you sand it in a perfect line this way, you won't be able to see it when you put the board rail back down. Cut a little piece, just that, and just sand that spot down. So just sand those little areas down. And then sometimes what will happen is the dust that goes in there will come back out again under your board rail. So you just want to close your eyes, especially if it's a VX that you're doing this on, because there's fiberglass shards in there. Sometimes you might need to hit it again. You don't want to have a strongman competition between you and the board. That's really not the purpose. So when you feel like it's not going anymore, give her a little turn. Now this time you don't want to push super hard. It's already like reamed out. If you push, it'll break the little areas that you just made screw tunnels in. I'd say that's good. So yeah, there you go. That's how you put board rails on your skateboard, and hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe for more skate content, tips, and hacks. Let's go.